Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm a new YouTube channel, so bear with me as I figure things out. So this new video series is something I've been wanting to do for a while. I plan on this video series where I will walk you through the character creation of 8 new characters for Pathfinder 2e using only the player core and GM core, one character for each class. The purpose of this is to make a character that anyone can use. In other words, if someone wants to sit down and play Pathfinder, you don't have to walk them through character creation. You can just have a character sheet ready to go. This is great if a player joins a game mid-campaign or for new players who learn best by doing and not reading. Now, Paizo has experimented with this before using their iconics, but the problem is there's really only 2 or 3 versions of these characters, a level 1 version and either a level 3 or 5 version, sometimes both. So, what happens when somebody joins the table at level 4 or 7? What I'm doing is making 10 character sheets for each character from levels 1 to 10. The description of this video will have a link to a Google Drive that has all the character sheets in the character, and I hope to make more in the future. Experienced GMs might want to give these sheets a once-over, as I may have made a mistake. I am human after all. Alright, I really want this experiment to succeed, so if you like what I'm doing and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. That will not only help this video out, but will also help me out as I'm on the road to trying to get YouTube to actually pay me some money for these videos. Now, as of the creation of this video, the Player Core 2 is not out yet, but if this video series does well, I'll do characters for those 8 classes as well. Okay, some ground rules. I'm going to be as broadly applicable as possible, so I'm not using the free archetype rules here. If you want to add free archetypes, you certainly can, but you'll have to add them in yourself. I've also designed all of these characters with their own background and stories, which I'll tell you about in a bit. Feel free to ignore these backgrounds if you want, but I did work hard on them, so I'd appreciate it if you at least gave them a listen. I've also designed all the characters to work within the world of Golarion, that is to say, Paizo's official campaign setting, but I've also avoided using any specifics so that they can be ported to other non-Golarion games pretty easily. So without further ado, let's talk about the first of these characters I'm doing in the series, the Bard. Like I said, if this video does well, I'll make a video for each class in the player core. So, presenting Malera Delu. Malera Delu's family isn't royalty, but her father is a high-ranking politician in the elven government, and according to him, the elves are in trouble. Malera's father, Lennius, is convinced that the elven nation will collapse in on itself in the next 2 to 3 elf generations. That is, unless the elves enact his policies to save them. The only problem is, no one believes him, and most think him an alarmist. So, Lennius has spent much of his political career seeking ever more and more political power in order to drive his policies forward and, at least in his mind, save the elven race. To that end, he started marrying off his children in political marriages in order to increase his political power. Malera is his youngest and his only daughter. Now, as a child, she had all the material things she could ever want, but she was rarely happy. You see, Malera's mother disappeared shortly after she was born, and her father was never emotionally available, wrapped up in his own plans to save the elven nation, or so he claimed. Malera had a life of luxury, but was never really truly happy. That was until one day when her father, in a rare act of kindness, took her to a festival. While at the festival, the young Malera saw magical fireworks for the first time, and she was awestruck. She didn't just see magic being cast, she saw true, undiluted wonderment. She saw how this magic made the other children happy, and she knew how it made her feel, and she became obsessed. She immediately asked her father if she could learn to harness such wonder, and much to her surprise, her father said yes. What she didn't know at the time was that her father was only thinking of how her being a spellcaster would make her more valuable as a bride, and he could secure more political power from marrying her off. So, Lennius, her father, took her to an elven magical academy and asked them to test her, to check if she had the aptitude to be a wizard. Sadly, her grades were subpar, and it took weeks for her to learn her first spell, Detect Magic. They eventually said she just wasn't a good fit for wizardry, and though she had the personality for being a sorceress, she had no native magic in the blood. Her father then took her to a local church to see if she had the aptitude to be a cleric, but they also informed him that she lacked the determination for such things. Crestfallen, Malera returned to her former life. Her father enrolled her in classes designed to make her more appealing to prospective suitors, such as fencing classes, classes on elven history, and, though she was bad at it, arcane theory. The only joy Malera had at this point in her life was music. She quickly came to cherish her music lessons, as she could feel some strange trace of the wonderment of those magical fireworks as she played. And the more she played, the better she got, the closer and closer she got to that sense of wonderment, until one day, years and years after the festival, she made a breakthrough. Somehow, she had finally connected the music she was playing to that strange sense of wonder all those years ago, and she was able to produce magic on her own. Overjoyed, she ran to her father to show him. Now, her father should have been ecstatic to see what she had managed on her own, knowing that it would raise her status as a potential bride, but at this time he was under a great deal of stress. This was due to a particularly difficult political negotiation, and he was not thinking clearly. Now, he saw what she was doing and was worried her non-traditional style of magic would be a turnoff for some of the more traditionalist families and forbade her from continuing. And that's where Malera finally broke, the one thing that brought her true happiness, and her father tried to take it away. That night she packed up her things and snuck out of the manor and out of the elven nation entirely. Magical music was her passion and the only thing in life she truly cared about, and if her father didn't see that, then she did not need him. Malera is meant to be played as a support character and backup fighter. She's fast and gets faster as she levels up. She's handy with a rapier, and while she doesn't do much damage, she is fairly accurate. As she levels up, she's going to pick up the Warrior Muse as a second muse, allowing her to keep Courageous Anthem going through either lingering performance or martial performance. This will help her action economy as a bard. Her spells focus mostly on healing and removing status effects, and she has some illusions. Now, as she levels up, she does get some combat spells. In general, she should probably be the one to use her speed so she can flank with rogues and warriors, and mostly use her magic to save lives. If you want to play a singing fencer who loves magic and wants to experience the pure wonderment of what magic and music has to offer, while also providing a distraction for your allies, I suggest checking out Malera. If you like this channel and want to see it grow, please like, subscribe, and comment. That tells YouTube and me that you would like to see more of this kind of content. Until then, thanks, good luck, and happy gaming.